You can't tell me this don't seem fair.
I was traditionally trained in jazz. I did tap growing up, and then I transitioned into like urban styles and like hip hop. When you're younger and you dance as a male, for me, I tended to be the only like boy in the studio and in that space, and especially since my dance program was tied to my school, a lot of times it was kind of viewed as something like gay or something feminine. So for me, it was very different to be in that. I felt like I was like a political statement just going to like dance class.
I absolutely did not have a style. I think at the time I didn't really understand what dance was as a full concept of what it all is. I think I started to develop my style once I got to college.
Once upon a time, there was a little black girl.
You better work.
Who's gonna serve you now? I'm gonna ride and came to get down. Yes, I'm dressed in Elva Couture.
Once I got to college, I think that's when I started to identify with my femininity. So that's when my movement started to be more feminine, as opposed to just what I had seen, what I had been being taught. So it started to be more feminine, performatively, and then I think recently, maybe about a year or two ago, it started to be more, a lot more influences of modern and contemporary, and more recently, more jazz and street jazz.
I would say it's catty in a sense, not so much as like messy catty, but you have catty like your girls are catty, so they say. But like like a literal cat, like stealthy almost, and very quick and precise, and also smooth and subtle. Both masculine and feminine. When I think of cats, I think of like non-binary almost. It's like very, just a ball of energy that can, be very hard and soft at the same time. So it's like a combination of those things.
I think so. I don't really prescribe to like the like gender binary and like the ideas of masculine femininity, but I do think from the outside looking in, like people tend to think that you're more feminine,
hyper feminine, loud, expressive in that way. I think and I think that representation comes from media.
Everyone kind of expects you to perform a certain way.
Okay.
But for me, I know there's a difference between performing as a black gay male and performing as like a woman. People kind of think that the two are synonymous, and they aren't. A lot of black gay performance kind of comes from like the ballroom scene. They call it cunt and fierce, and so that's really different than having a femininity as a woman.
Yeah, pretty much. It starts. I feel like dance, of course, is a language, and you can tell a lot about how someone expects you to act just by the language they present to you when you first meet. Like verbal language, like they expect you to be like, "Oh yes, girl," and even though I do have that in myself, that is not. That doesn't represent our whole community. And when you see that in dance, or when people see me dance, they kind of expect me to like initially vogue or like go off and be like, they use words like cunt or slay, and I'm like, thanks, I guess, but it's not really, they don't mean it offensively, but it can come off as that. It's very stereotypical, and yeah, not everybody's like that.
Some words that we use to describe the DMV dance community are close-knit, home, loving, nurturing. There's a lot of different pockets.
The hip-hop community was really a way for me to take on characters and take on roles that and not be judged for.
Like, I feel like the DMV dance community, like when we have moments where we have huge classes where everyone comes together, I feel like the presence of community is so strong. It's like I feel it on 1,000. Like it feels safe.
I think the DMV hip hop community, in my experience, is very accepting of, different sexualities and different, I would say sexuals. I don't know about gender identity. I don't know about that.
I feel like the DMV dance community, I will say that it follows suit as far as dance communities in other places where back when I first entered the DMV dance community, it was kind of like heteronormative, and you have like your guys, you have to dance like this, and even now it's still kind of like girls group go off, guys come on the, like it's very it's still kind of heteronormative, but I will say, as we make progress in dance in general, I feel that it spreads throughout multiple dance communities, and definitely here.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we're only recently getting to a close. That may be a dirty lie. I think that a lot of people are uncomfortable. Nope.
Relax.
I think that it's less of a community thing, but more of a sexuality thing, more of a comfort thing. I think a lot of people aren't yet comfortable with. I'll say this. I think that people look down on femininity, especially masculine femininity. So I think people haven't yet separated or haven't yet accepted, I can be a straight male, I can be strong and 7 feet tall, built to the nines, but dance like a woman, because that's looked down upon because I ain't gay. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a people issue, it's a society issue. I don't think that it's a dance issue.
There was a solo that I kind of created on myself. It was very pink, and the movement was really soft and subtle, and it was just to like make people help people recognize me as a man, but not the traditional kind of toxic, hypermasculine image that we're often forced, that is often forced into like our psyche, and in this piece, everything about me is not the traditional idea of masculinity. Like, I'm super skinny, I'm not like buff, and it kind of shed a light on issues with men not being able to be soft. That's the only way that I know how to try to change things, is by like using your art to create these venues.
So Sticks and Stones is everyone on Sticks and Stones is, as of right now, is a queer male of color. It's directed by William Nolan Jr. and it's really cool. We're all have something in common. We all have a lot of things in common, to dance. And,
Yeah.
And we are queer. And it's great.
So originally it was just a visual that I made. I told myself like I'm gonna make a visual, like I'm gonna stop like being lazy.
Yeah.
And it really came from me wanting to empower myself through my identity. I'd always been scared to work with a group of all gay men and have the movement be like very popular, like pop. And, I just was straying away from that because I was really scared of how people would take that.
Yeah.
And so Sticks and Stones comes from like, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. So I took that and I really internalized that, and I thought like, I need to do this for me, regardless of to what people care and what they say, So it was a visual, and then it ended up becoming a crew of guys that all share that same like meaning for why we create. We're just a group of artists who really like to challenge each other. We challenge our thinking, and we're kind of like our own little community.
Honestly, I was kind of nervous to join it at first, just because I remember when I think Greg asked me to be on it, or I told them like I was interested. They're like, everyone's gonna like just assume you're gay, because it was like before I was like more out as a person, and I was like, I don't care. This is like, I love dancing like this. I love these people. I love this cause. And like one of the big things with Coverboy is like, I think a lot of us when we were younger didn't have people to look up to that were on stage and so open and so comfortable with who they are and how they want to dance and how they want to express themselves. So when you really like look at it from that standpoint, it was a really easy decision, just because I want other people to not have to like go through all of this like struggle of like, should I present myself like this? Should I like, no, you should be able to present yourself however you are and not have to worry about like what the world is gonna think.
So before I came to Culture Shock, there was a performance that they did. It was Slam, I don't remember what year, I just know Johnny Ninja closed the medley with a Vogue piece. And it blew me away because I didn't realize that there was a place for me as a Black effeminate dancer. I knew that I could be that, but I didn't know that I could be that on stage and have people love it. That moment changed my life. It showed me that there was a place for me to go, a place for me to be. And I think with Coverboy, I really wanted to create that moment for dancers in the future, dancers like myself. Also, I feel like just around the community, there were effeminate male dancers, that have created that moment like Johnny has for me. And there was no place for us to come together, for us to be a unit. So I said, I'm gonna make one.
There we go, yeah.
So I did.